Me mo bibi akwaba eba Melodies TV so. Say by now ye nina ye nim say ye maame Gertrude Torkornoo de aban akọ court. Na we sue the Attorney General say ye no a free office as the Chief Justice and then the judge of a superior court no, and the judge of the Supreme Court no. It's yamra in fact. And I'm a case ni mutren krofwa yenina ye who say now she's fighting the removal as a judge of the Supreme Court. What you say Chief Justice the them say we jemu amanaka and I say or train a year ECOWAS court no. But we the end she's fighting the removal as a judge of the Supreme Court. Now and I'm the documents in but the document in full. And there we have the entire document. Now her documentation I am edico PMU a year court, a year high court, a year 77 pages. And so we are going to go through the entire document and see the merits in her case. Okay. Yen any case ni nani yen say issues are we raise, you know. You bet to me who say yeah mami na se mumu na se minim. Na answer na meto aso no. Unim say I've been telling you, say, yare domo etai kum Ghana for bebre na no. Yana efukesiye enedinam. In fact, enra, yesi Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Omwa recorded 5,225 diabetes. Omwa recorded 2,300 kidney diseases. Omwa sanswa recorded 2,800 heart cases in just 6 months. This year, 6 months pay. Kolebu Teaching Hospital. The number of diabetes, ni kidney, ni heart cases are recording no enuni. Na mama wati asese sa yariye we no ade a edenam eyefu kese. Se we fusua likely say yariye we one hwe ya you are heading towards that. Enu hunti me say comment box ni mu there is a book. Enyama miensa book na wo comment box ni mu so utumi to a enyama miensa se wutie mi na we put you on weight ana wutie mi na we fusu a enyama miensa a wo beye oya me ma 1 month obehu se we fu be sha ase se ejo obe sha ase se o reduce weight. Get the book in the comment box. Say o click comment box ni mu na ye very difficult for you to navigate na won sanka book na number na e wo screen ase no 0558074986. You can WhatsApp or you can text that number and tell me, say, please, I need a book on weight loss, or I need a book on the right way to reduce my stomach fat or belly fat. A pay book now, nebo on your ding, Mr. Pay book nibi. Now, young call a year in Semnimo, Yamami in Semnimo, into her the case. Now, yesterday I read all these parts, Emma, ye church and Semnina as a trend crow for. Now, the president, inti clearly no, she's suing the president. Also names and addresses of persons directly affected by the application. Into the president of the republic and then the attorney general. Also in the Superior Court of Judicature, in the High Court of Justice, in the matter of an application by Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Isaba Saki Torkornoo, invoking the supervisory jurisdiction of the High Court, and in the matter of the Republic, Attorney General, Office of the Attorney General, Law House, Accra, blah, blah, blah. Affidavit in support of application for judicial review. Or say, I, Justice Gertrude Isaba Saki Torkornoo, of Chief Justice's residence, Accra, make oath and say as follows. But then I have a question. Inti ye, as a Chief Justice, no? Is she supposed to leave the Chief Justice residence? Because so better than the Chief Justice the government officially gives you a residence, and that is her address. Chief Justice's residence, right? Intende ye as Chief Justice, no not say free ho meboa. But the way I walk through, no, that means she's still there. So is she going to wait for government to come put her out of that place? Yeah, no, so a different matter. Say, yakwa pame mamene free nifi na say, and no anga say also who no free fee. I don't know, but I say that I am the applicant and deponent here too, that my full name, description, and address for service are Justice Gertrude Torkornoo, Justice of the Superior Court of Judicature, appointed 2004, appointed Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana on 12 June 2023, Chief Justice's residence, Cantonment, Accra. Or see that I make all the positions in this affidavit on the basis of personal knowledge and on the basis of advice I have received from my lawyers, which advice I believe to be true. That all the positions I make in this affidavit, which are based on law or are legal in nature, I make on the basis of advice I have received from my lawyer, which advice I believe same. Into grounds for application, into our the reason in here or the application we ever what you say. She's explaining into grounds for application. Now say that the grounds on which the application is made are set out as follows: illegality and want of power under Article 146 of the Constitution, under which the President executed the warrant of September 1st, 2025. Into the grounds I will say, or the reasons until they are saying we are copium or court. No, one or say illegality, and I think say that's her first reason. You can say bibi ye illegal. Not to say His Excellency John Dramani Mahama nyama bia wo ye no when dim raso eno de ye. Two, as a lack of jurisdiction in the Article 146 committee set up by the President to recommend removal of Chief Justice, to recommend removal of a Justice of Superior Courts from office. Not to say His Excellency the committee Mahama said no omo lack jurisdiction. Some be recommended say ye be as Chief Justice. Almost also lack jurisdiction say on be recommended say ye as a judge of a superior court. And for me, I don't know. Seriously, I don't understand, because you see, when it comes to this, what we'll do is we'll still go back to Article 146. Okay, unless maybe the lawyers tell us, say, the English, plain English, I had through Article 146. No, yenya yako school ni yentiasye na ebia lawyers for no, omo special style of understanding English. Unless maybe they tell us that. But say ye nim na ende ye ma make say the committee I set up no omo lack jurisdiction say wo mu be yi na. I don't understand, because Article 146(4) or say where the Chief Justice decides that there's a prima facie blah blah blah, or say the committee appointed under clause 6 of the article shall investigate the complaint and shall make its recommendation to the Chief Justice. 6, or say where the petition is for the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall, acting in consultation with the Council of State, appoint a committee consisting of 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President, and 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. Or say when it is about the removal of the Chief Justice, the President shall appoint a committee. Committee no see a burden. The committee appointed under clause 6 of this article shall inquire into the petition and recommend to the President whether the Chief Justice ought to be removed from office. So the committee will do inquiry and recommend to the President, say, Chief Justice no, and as a mean, And indeed, the committee did so. They recommended to the President, or say, the President shall in each case act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. Or say President no, or say committee new year. But try the formation of the committee, the people who are supposed to be part of the committee. And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Odi Super Pepe. Was say the President shall in each case act in accordance with the recommendations of the committee. President no, obe acte, so committee netina say, and the recommendation by say President ni and a President no, or act in accordance with the committee. In the sender, on grounds for application, mami the entia was say, or de sa case we echo court. The entia was de echo court, o sue President and the government no. The entia was the case ne echo court no. Or say, because the committee no lack jurisdiction in Article 146. to recommend removal of Chief Justice. But we've read Article 146, unless maybe I don't understand, but we've read Article 146, and clearly the Constitution gives the committee that power to recommend the removal. So what is our mother talking about? Yema mean semen walking. Send Americano. Ebedu court. Right? There are a lot of people, legal brains, who are sharing their thoughts on this, and during the course of the day, I'll bring you what some of them are saying. Oh yeah, I will say that by a press release, the Director of Communications at the Office of the President informed the public of receipt of 3 petitions purportedly presented for my removal as Chief Justice of the Republic and the commencement of consultation with the Council of State as part of processes for my removal from office. Attached herewith and marked as Exhibit GST1 is a copy of the said press. Hey, inti ya mami asem no owie no odi akobako. In some way we raise here the dada. Say President Communications Director issue statement say ye be ye ne hu hwehwemu ni sa nyama ne some way they call the dada. I'm so they are call back to sansem no. I thought that those matters ye treaty emanewie. We are still talking about them. It's quite interesting. I say that because I had hitherto never been informed of the presentation of such petitions against me, I wrote to the President for copies of the said petitions, in response to which the President provided me with copies. So she has gone back to how the thing started. But in all her suits, no, these were issues she raised, and they were thrown out by courts. All the courts she went to, issues no already when na yeboguya intino. Why is she raising these issues again? I seriously don't understand. That on receipt of the petitions, it became apparent that the petitions were in respect of my removal from office of Chief Justice of the Republic, attached herewith and marked as Exhibit GST2 blah blah blah. I'll say that by communication dated April 22nd, 2025, the Secretary to the President indicated that a prima facie finding had been made by the President against me in respect of the petitions for my removal as Chief Justice of Ghana by Daniel Ofori, Shining Stars of Ghana, and Ayamga Akogo Esquire. That by the same communication, the Secretary to the President indicated that the President had established a committee to inquire into the allegations against me. Okay, and she has gone back to naming the members of the committee and all that. But this is quite serious. That to date, I have not been served with a copy of the prima facie determination on the petitions by the President. Okay, into the 11th point, no. I say prima facie committee, no. No. Up till now, she has not been served with that prima facie. Okay, Mama Wati has a prima facie, and I say, you can say prima facie case, and I find the prima facie, and I say, case be a abano. Ya investigate, ya inimunimu investigation, ma yehune say abawum. Into say, nanka committee no prima facie ya wamo find it, no nanka wase wamo demano. But is that what the Constitution said? The Constitution didn't say that. The Constitution said once the committee finds a prima facie, they should go on. The Constitution didn't say that once the committee finds a prima facie, they should serve you with the prima facie. Seriously, the Constitution really didn't say that. But anyway, let's go. Also, that notwithstanding the failure to serve me with a purported prima facie determination, the Secretary of the President also communicated the President's decision to suspend me as a Chief Justice by a warrant with immediate effect, attached herewith and marked as Exhibit GST3 and GSTJ4 are copies of the communication of the Secretary of the President referred to and dated April 22nd, 2025, and a warrant of suspension. That neither the communication of the Secretary to the President nor the warrants were accompanied by any documents containing the prima facie determination. That on September 1st, 2025, I received communication from the President of Ghana that I had been removed from office as both the Chief Justice of Ghana and the Justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana on the basis of a report and recommendations of the Article 146 Committee chaired by Piaman JSC, set up to consider the petitions for my removal from office as a Chief Justice. The communication and the document purported to be a warrant of removal is attached as Exhibit GST 5 and 6. That in violation of my right, I have not been given a copy of the recommendation and report of the Article 146 committee, based on which the president purported to remove me from office. Inti asemna osanso can say reporter and a recommendation a committee no edebre president say Gertrude Torkornoo yenyi no as chief justice no. President nim fasa recommendations no emma no. President emma no sa report no. Inti onim di enti ayeyi no. Okay. I say that I am advised by counsel and believe same to be true that the president could not, by the warrant dated September 1st, 2025, remove me from both the offices of the Chief Justice and the Justice of Supreme Court of Ghana for the following and other reasons. You see, on say Emra, just 2 pages of Sadne application way about Bonteno. Yeni nano, in fact, me, I thought say she was just fighting the removal as a Supreme Court judge, but what he has say you know as Chief Justice. But you see, reading the entire document, no, it shows that even the removal as a Chief Justice, nekra won here. Reading the entire document, obeti as say ye know as a Chief Justice nekra no, or see 1 penny and a crown post still on tiasie. And the entire one tiasie and say recommendations now. O say ye dia ma si yin me no di ntia na menhu ye di ntia na menkinkan ye mempene mentiase me lawyer say ma mentiase me nso mentiase say mentiase. Basically that's what she's saying. Di ntia no si on tiase any the petitions of Daniel Ofori, Shining Stars of Ghana and Ayamga Akugu Esquire were specifically for my removal from office as Chief Justice, not as a Justice of the Superior Court of Ghana. Say petition na ye debre His Excellency John Dramani Mahama no ni yesi yenyi num free ho as Chief Justice, but yankasi yenyi nim free ho as a judge of the Supreme Court. So this is the case she's raising. I say the responses I submitted to President in respect of the 3 petitions above noted were in respect of allegations for my removal as Chief Justice and not as a Justice of the Superior Court. Say response I will also throw ye de comma His Excellency John Dramani Mahama no. That someone no more can and say ye be yin free ho as Chief Justice and yes say ye yin free ho as Supreme Court judge. International say ye ma me de onu di onya ya still ye man nkonko tena Supreme Court onu ndi asem. The purported prima facie determination, a copy of which has to date not been provided to me, was in relation to the petitions for my removal as Chief Justice, not as Justice of the Superior Court. Same case. The committee was set up as stipulated under Article 1466 of the Constitution to consider whether or not to recommend my removal as Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, but not as Justice of the Supreme Court of Ghana. The jurisdiction of a committee set up pursuant to Article 1466 is specifically stipulated by the Constitution 1992 to be limited to consideration of petitions against a Chief Justice. And she goes on to say, the committee thus was not clothed with jurisdiction to inquire into or make recommendations on whether I ought to be removed as a Justice of Superior Court of Judicature, including the Supreme Court. The Secretary to the President confirmed in his communication dated September 1st, 2025, that the Article 146 Committee, in fact, recommended my removal from office as Chief Justice only. The relevant part of Exhibit GST 5 reads as follows. Intino utia or making the case or say the removal no and yes yesi yenyi no as a judge of the Supreme Court, but here communication e ba say yepesi yi ni ana ni ye no as Supreme Court judge and sorry ni ye no as Chief Justice, and then they ba saying and yesi ye na yaba be yi no aka ho as Supreme Court judge. This is serious. 77 pages. So far we've done just 8 pages. And I really want us to understand every single thing she's saying so that your things semnasi, right? Into exhibits or they no evidence or say ohodi etia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama no evidence nini neni. What you say? These are all the evidences I will say ohodi etia His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. I think say we'll have to go through the evidence in the next post. Okay. evidence no yeah over I think 50 pages. We'll have to go through it so we get every single thing. And we'll go through the evidence in my next post. Montreal, your comment box.